Welcome back, it's Ryzen, and today I'm going to be talking about Tower of God, chapter 551. We're back, boys. It's been quite a while since I've uploaded last, but I'm back into it, and I am pleased to say that this chapter was really good. I really enjoyed it. There was a lot of positive things that I have to say about the chapter and a lot of specific points I want to discuss, but real quickly before I get into it, if you enjoy Tower of God, definitely be sure to subscribe to the channel because we have a ton of Tower of God content already existing and a ton on the way. And, if at any point throughout this video you catch yourself enjoying it, be sure to leave a like. And I'm using gameplay in the background for these now because Webtoon just dropped a whole bunch of new rules and I can only use 20 panels per video, so I can't just show you me scrolling through the chapter and talking about it. So if you want to see my live reaction to the chapter with the entire chapter on there, it's going to have to be locked behind Patreon so that, I don't get screwed over. So go subscribe to my Patreon, link in the description. You can catch those there. And you can even react to the chapter with me in a call and everything. We did that with this chapter, so definitely be sure to check that out. The video's already out on Patreon. It's been out for a long time now. So, early chapter reviews and exclusive content on Patreon. Definitely be sure to check that out. So, sorry for taking so long. Let's get into the chapter. So, the first thing I wanted to talk about is how happy I am with the amount of strategy that was in this chapter. That is my favorite part about Tower of God, besides some of the depth of a lot of the characters, like, Yazracha, Bam, Calvan, we already got into all that. But my second favorite thing in Tower of God is the strategy. Ever since the very beginning with these characters figuring out how to climb the tower, it's always been the thing that's drawn me, right? More than just about the raw power, right? I feel like a lot of season 3 is kind of, not all of it, there has definitely been a lot of strategy, but a good chunk of season 3 has kind of left that behind. Naya is like, the pioneer of Tower of Beams, everybody's just Dragon Ball Z fighting all the time now, but, especially towards the end of season 3 and now with this chapter right here, there's been a lot more emphasis on strategy and outsmarting your opponent, which is what I absolutely love, right? This is what made season 1 so great. These characters are way weaker than the challenges that are thrown towards them, and they have to find a way to not only overpower what is in front of them, but to outmaneuver it, right? And this chapter had tons of it, right? We go from top to bottom, right? Where we see literal JAHAD and the family heads talking strategy all the way down to the bottom of the totem pole with regulars and Kun and Rachel. And the difference between their strategies and how it's all combining into one ultimate strategy is just amazing. It's beautifully well done. So the first thing we're going to start talking about is JAHAD and Traumerei and that sort of interaction. There's a lot to unpack there. First of all, we're finally learning more about JAHAD and Traumerei, which is amazing. It's about time, right? So the biggest takeaway I got from that was that JAHAD isn't this almighty dictator, right? He isn't this guy who sits above all of the family heads and whatever he says goes. Before this chapter, that was actually a pretty solid conclusion to come to. But as of right now, that is just pretty much confirmed to not be the case. Traumerei just straight up says that he can't tell the Kun and REA families what to do. They just won't listen to him. He doesn't have control over them, which is crazy. I assumed he could just, bark commands and anybody would just do what he says. But no, Kun and Wan is not folding for any of that, which is honestly really cool. It shows how certain families just have pretty much complete independence from JAHAD, which is crazy. Also, JAHAD tells Traumerei what he wants him to do, but Traumerei replies, okay, but I have a condition, meaning even on the lower end of the spectrum or middle, whatever you want to say, JAHAD, he can't tell them what to do. They have conditions, there's pushback. It's more of like a friendship in a way, which is crazy. He's not really the king of the tower when you think about it, And I'm pretty sure Traumerei's intent is to use Bomb to literally kill Gustang for him. I think that Traumerei thinks that Bomb will be family head level by the time the war is in full effect, that's crazy. Bomb versus Gustang is not what I expected, but I think that could be a thing, especially when we consider how Traumerei can literally coach Bomb on how to use Leviathan and all that. It could be really interesting. There were a few other interesting things about their conversation as well, specifically about how JAHAD's text boxes looked. It was really interesting. We talked about it in the live reaction. I'll go ahead and play some of the clips for you.
I just want to point something out. It's interesting that JAHAD's text bubble is very different from.
Yeah, I was
talking to Remorsefuls about this, and I was thinking, maybe I'm going a little bit too off the deep end or whatever, but the bars and how they're interlapped with each other and everything, it kind of makes me think that it's almost voices speaking at the same time.
He's like kind of fourth wall breaking a little bit. It's like he's speaking like in such a manner that it's like outside of like their own verse. Like that's how powerful his words are,
Yeah.
Also, the fact that Traumerei's nightmares resurfaced specifically ever since he met Bomb is insane to me. It's not even since he met him, actually. It's since he heard about his existence, I believe, which is absolutely insane. I wonder what effect Bomb is having on him, because this is before Leviathan, because when he found out Bomb existed, Bomb didn't have Leviathan yet, right? The fact that Bomb's existence gave birth to more nightmares for Traumerei probably has something to do with V, and just more confirmation, I guess, that V is the one who really scarred him for life, probably, and he sees the V in Bomb, or maybe he senses the V in Bomb, or something crazy like that, which is absolutely wild. And then perhaps the most interesting part of this whole situation is that his solution to this is to give Leviathan to Bomb. It really does beg the question why, and I have no doubt that we'll get that answered soon, hopefully within the next couple chapters, but that might be a little bit too optimistic. Now let's talk about Kun and Rachel. That plan, I don't think it's Rachel's plan. I'm just going to say that. I don't think Rachel's that smart. I think that it was mostly that one guy's plan that was working with Rachel, and she's kind of like, toting it around as her own. That's a very Rachel thing to do. I do think that's the case, and I do think that eventually it will be exposed that she never even thought of any of it. But for now, if you operate under the assumption that it was Rachel's plan, that is huge. Because the Rachel-Kun rivalry, I'm going to just say it, it's bigger than the Bomb and Rachel rivalry, for sure. The Rachel and Kun rivalry has something that has been, over 400 chapters brewing now? And the whole entire time, Kun has always been a step ahead. The entire time. He has never taken an L to Rachel. In the beginning, he immediately discovered that she was lying about her legs and whatever, and he was just the whole time one step ahead of her, and he finally was able to betray her. And then moving forward, I think it was the Dollar Show, I don't remember, when he was like doing the coin flipping, absolutely humiliating her, right? Constantly just humiliating her. He is always a foot above her, right? And now I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, for the first time in Tower of God history, Rachel just straight up outplayed Kun. Just straight up. There was nothing more to it. She simply outplayed him. And not only did she outplay Kun, but she made the entire thing she made it seem like it wasn't even about Kun. She outplayed Kun in such a way that it demoralized him, because she made it look like she wasn't even trying to outplay him. She made it look like she was doing something else, and him being outplayed was just a side effect. It really just Kun was having that main character syndrome where he's like, why me, right? It's the typical thing that every narcissist or every person with a big ego says whenever something bad happens to them. They say, why me, right? Why me in particular? Because they're so self-centered. We know that Kun has a big ego, so when he says, why me, it's basically exposing Kun's overinflated ego, and Rachel is coming in and saying, no, it's not about you. This was a big picture thing, and you just happened to be in my way, right? Which is just, wow. She not only, I can't believe it, she humiliates his ego and makes herself look better in comparison. I don't know, man. I did not expect that to happen. At first, it was so well written in the way where I was like, okay, this is kind of dumb. He was already in jail. That was just unnecessary. She's just flexing on Kun at this point, right? And then the more and more gets revealed about the plan, where I'm thinking like, oh, okay, now Kun has a death sentence, so something to Kun. Oh, now the rest of the people are going to get killed as well by their relation to him, okay? And then now it's like, oh, not only is she screwing over those people in particular, but now she is inciting the entirety of the Pobedao family to rally up against the Lopopia family, which is just, it's insane. I can't believe it. And, if we're going to continue under the assumption that Rachel is the one orchestrating all this, it really does show Rachel's level of commitment to Pobedao, and even just the way she was talking. I noticed throughout the chapter, she seemed like when she was talking about the Pobedao family, she was including herself in the family. So that might say a lot about the relationship between Rachel and Gustang. And it's really interesting because if Rachel and Gustang really are close and he does truly care about her, she cares about him, when they go against Bomb, it's going to be crazy, because at this point, if Gustang has to choose between Rachel and Bomb, it might be up in the air. I can't imagine Gustang actually caring about Rachel, right? This could just be typical Rachel delusion, thinking that she's actually important, right? I'm pretty sure we did talk about this in the reaction, that he's basically only keeping Rachel around as a way to lure Bomb. If on the off chance that he actually does care about Rachel, and he would choose Rachel's life over Bomb's, that's huge, because if Rachel and Bomb ever meet again, they're going to fight. There's no question about it. There's going to be fighting happening. Hands will be thrown, right? And if he chooses Rachel, then that could be a catalyst to start the war, right? The war. So there's being fuel in this fire. Traumerei wants Bomb to kill Gustang. Rachel just signed off on a death sentence to Kun. And of course, if Gustang stands behind that and supports Rachel, then that's just even more fuel, right? Like I just said. So things are really ramping up. And I really do like the pace of this chapter. I thought it was paced well. And the fact that we got two different layers of strategy, it's just amazing. And I can't wait to see Bomb really how he will be put into this whole situation. It's really kind of it's really, really interesting. And to think that we're probably, the way this is going to go is that there's going to be a princess tournament and then this war will happen sometime during the tournament is even crazier. You know, the stereotypical thing where it's like, you know, the tuning exams or whatever, to where like it's a crazy tournament that gets interrupted by something even crazier. You know, I'm all in for it. So yeah, that's my take on the chapter. I really don't have any negatives except for the fact that at the end there was a little bit too much exposition dump, but it still was good. Again, if you want to see my live reaction, go check out Patreon, link in the description. I really, really would appreciate it. Shout out to Gavin, Nicholas, and Remorsefuls for being patrons. Your guys' support really does mean the world to me. And, you know, sorry for not uploading for a while. I am back now, fully back. And, yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.